Hey, Zach.
Yo,
Hey, I have a question for you.
what's up?
Can you define race?
Do you need like a quick answer or can I think about it a little bit more?
In keyword race, Morning offers us several different interpretations of the word. However, eventually, to define race, she seems to settle on Max Weber's definition of ethnic groups. Quote, "The human groups entertain a subjective belief in a common descent because the similarities of physical type or customs are both because of memories of colonization and migration. This belief must be important for the propagation of group formation. Conversely, it doesn't matter whether or not an objective blood relationship exists." But it's long. Too long for our purposes. And because of this length and complexity, she sort of alters it and changes it to her liking, and eventually comes up with a much more palatable definition of race. One that we can use to understand this phenomenon locally on Santa Clara's campus. This new revised definition of race, courtesy of Morning herself, claims it to be groupings of people believed to share common descent based on perceived innate physical similarities. So let's dissect this definition and ask around. To test the waters, I first sent out an email to a couple friends of mine, ones that I felt would respond honestly and would not be uncomfortable in receiving this question from me. I asked them to, without Googling, define race. I compared the common characteristics of the different responses with the definition from Morning. To do so, I broke up Morning's definition into 4 key aspects: groupings of people, common descent, perception, and innate physical similarities. Together, these 4 comprise Morning's definition, and I wanted to see if my peers would naturally acknowledge each and their preconceived definitions of race. Out of the 17 people that responded, 8 individuals mentioned something about race being a grouping of people. 7 mentioned something about common descent. 5 mentioned something about how race is only perceived and doesn't exist in reality. And 14 mentioned something about innate physical similarities in their definitions. And as we can see when comparing this last category to the others, many people simply equate race to physical similarities. And this trend persists outside of the social world and into the academic sphere as well. In an article published in the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology titled Pharmacogenetics: Implications of Race and Ethnicity on Defining Genetic Profiles for Personalized Medicine, they look at using race to customize medical treatment. In this study, pharmacogenetics are, quote, used to develop personalized therapies specific to subjects from different ethnic or racial groups. And while the article itself isn't damaging to our sociological concept of race, the language they use is, particularly using race as if it's some sort of biological certainty or criteria. But why is this wrong? Namely, if so many of my peers and people even in the academic sector think that race is merely a biological category based on your innate physical characteristics, how is this inaccurate? Or more importantly, why is equating race to biology dangerous? How does how we define race impact everyday life? For this, we can turn to C. Wright Mills' 1959 article, The Promise, in which he defines the sociological imagination as the quality of mind essential to grasp the interplay of man and society. By utilizing one's sociological imagination, one possesses the capability to understand that what affects him or her locally may be the product of a larger system at work. In relating the sociological imagination to race, we can see that our definition of this concept in large-scale systems like the US Census or the medical industry affects us all on a personal level. Ultimately, this is the purpose of keyword race for Morning. If we're going to use race institutionally, it will most certainly impact people's life. And as a result, it's essential that our definition is both accurate and agreed upon.